So very glad to have you, Zo, today. We, Alixco, is always curious to know founder story before we bring your equity crowdfunding campaigns online. As just like us, our investor also curious, who are you? Because when people invest, they're actually investing in founders. As a founder is the soul of the whole business, right? So let's dive into it. Introduce yourself, who you are. Let's start with that.
Sure. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to do this interview. So my name is Zulhafiz. I am the co-founder and CEO of Hirix. Hirix is an AI native platform that streamlines and automates recruitment workflows, all from throughout the sourcing candidate all the way until hiring. So before becoming an entrepreneur, I spent more than 20 years in corporate, mostly working in a business and technology function, both in Malaysia and Australia. So upon graduation in the US, I did a business degree, double major in human resources management and operations management. Upon graduation, I returned back home and worked for 3 years, in multinational companies in Malaysia. So subsequently, after my studies, I went to Australia to my postgraduate in IT. So I did a master's in IT and work and live there for 12 years. It's a long time. So while I was working, living in Australia, I was working in the mining industry as a mining technology consultant. So my role was to transform data into information so that the mining managers can make informed decisions around the usage of their fleet management, around their production performance, around the operators' activities, as well as the health and safety operations. So in 2015, I returned to Malaysia through Talent Corp, the returning expert program. They're actually trying to get all Malaysians who live overseas. They're trying to entice Malaysians to come back because it's a brain drain back at home, so they want us to help. So here I was. I came back and then I worked as vice president at a gambling company for 7 years, and then subsequently I became a tech leader in an oil and gas company, the biggest one in Malaysia, to be developing and managing transformational solutions for my clients so that they can realize the value creation. So that's a nutshell who I am, where I came from, and where I am now. Back to you.
So if I may summary to get to know you better, right? You started as a, can I say IT? You code yourself, right?
Yeah, business and IT, both, yeah.
Both, yeah. Very highly educated, well-trained in overseas and have an MNC exposure. So you know about corporate practice, governance, and definitely a Malaysian talent that's willing to come back and serve the countries.
That's it.
What was the attractive, is there any attractive package to bring you back from overseas? At the time, if I get it right, Australia, right?
Yeah. I think it all comes to, they did offer some good packages in terms of some, I get like a tax benefit for 5 years, and then I can buy a car without tax. And I think there was another one, which is if you have like a spouse and they're not Malaysian, you can always go back to live in Malaysia and then you automatically give your permanent residence here. So those are some packages that Talent Corp offered to returnees. But above all, I think it has also to do with my personal requirements, where I thought of like living there for 12 years, I want to come back and maybe contribute a bit to the country. Furthermore, I was a government scholar for my undergrad and postgrad, and therefore I feel like I'm obliged to somehow plan to come back and work in Malaysia. And plus, I've been living so long, and I think as you know, my parents are actually getting older as well. So I thought of like, I should come back and spend time with them when they go. So those are some pushing and pulling factors.
Okay, great. That's good to have more talents coming back to Malaysia and together make Malaysia more maju, gets more progress, right? Especially in today in AI worlds, right? Yeah. How about your MMC practice? Able to work in MMC, does it give you some things that to carry forward for your for Hirix today?
So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, the two multinational corporations that I work, allow me to gain skill and experience in running certain business functions. So it obviously directly, contribute to the way like I run my own company now in terms of the planning, the executions, and monitoring in both operations, governance, commercials, as well as technology too. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you the questions that I really curious the most. So MNC company give you such a good benefits and package, I suppose. And what is the aha inspire moments for you to think, okay, now is the time I started off by my own. I want to go into a new venture or started my own company.
Yeah, sure. It all started back in 2024. At that time, I was working with an oil and gas company. At this company, at that time, they run more than 200 IT projects and hire more than 2,000 contractors, I believe. So one of my responsibility was also to hire people there. So at this one time, I was requested to place 110 positions for 4 IT projects, and we had to manually review more than 1,000 resumes. And we were only given like a month and a half to complete hiring. So it was quite brutal. Yeah, it was quite harsh and quite manual. So the hiring process is manual, mundane. It takes a long time to complete. And sure enough, we made some good talent, as well as we had a few bad hires too. So that's when I talked to my team and I said, guys, there must be a better way to do this. That's when Hirix was born. So we went through the process from ideation to conceptualization, design, development, proof of concept, and pilot, and finally released the marketing. But we did it quite fast. The turnaround was only less than 1 year. So the defining moment, if I can say it, was mostly realizing how fundamentally broken the hiring process is. So some legacy tools and job portals are essentially, digitalized back in 1990s style resume databases. So many recruiters spend, 80% of their working hours doing manual screening, right, rather than connecting with high value talents out in the market. So we thought that slapping AI wrapper to the old software would have solved it. So the market required a ground up approach, and AI native recruitment platform that we built instantly parse the context, access the capability, match the real fit in real time. So we built Hirix.ai to make recruitment continuous, intelligent, and frictionless. So that's the inspiration that we had that actually leads us to this developing the platform.
Thanks. So you actually, through your formal employer, you see the pain point, you solve the issues, you come up with, you and your team come up with the new solutions. And you sort of bring the archetype, the mold of these new solutions, the solutions to your current business, right? I suppose at the time, it is without AI, right? If it's compared to today, that means the solutions that you would have like 10 times faster now with your solutions in terms of recruiting such a big amount of people in such a short time period.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're also happy to know you're already doing your target client's job previously. That's why you will stand on your feet of your customers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it comes from two experience. One is when I was head of departments, vice president of some departments. I had like close to 40 people reporting to me, and the ratio is like, you want to hire one person, you got to interview 5, you got to review more than 10 resumes. So if you have 40, 50 people, so it's like 500 resumes to review. You got to interview 250 people, then you get one successful candidate. So that's one. And secondly is my recent experience with the oil and gas company, where we had like massive hiring and challenge with time to complete and so forth. Yeah.
So can I assume, like, if that times the problems you apply now in Hirix solutions, it would have 5 to 10 times faster?
Yes.
Can I say that?
We believe that our platform can reduce time to hire by 70%. So and it can also reduce significantly bias and fraud, as well as improving candidates' quality. So those are the 3 main benefits from using this. So those are our punchlines for Hirix when you use and when you use hiring for Hirix. Yes.
Okay, maybe you can walk us through step by step, assuming the audience don't know what is Hirix doing and how Hirix are saving the time in terms of, in particular, in recruiting for NMC as well as enterprises.
Yep, sure. So Hirix is a platform that uses AI native solutions that streamlines and automates the hiring process from sourcing candidates all the way into hiring. So we have 4 AI agents that will go and map talent. That's one. Rather than you go and find the talent in LinkedIn or in any job portals, our AI will go and scan all job portals, including LinkedIn, and identify some good some good employees. And we can actually even develop a small database of potential candidates even before you do job posting. That's one. And number 2, we have AI recruiter, of which he can go and reach out all these candidates on job portals and personalize the message when they reach out. So AI recruiter can actually identify good candidates and source them and entice them to apply for certain positions that your clients advertise. That's our AI recruiter. And then moving forward down the line, we have an AI interviewer, which it will it will analyze the resumes. It will also try to actually do the best matching and pre-score them even before we call them for interview. So if you have like one role and we have 100 people apply, and you have a score of those 100 people, and you can decide, the hiring manager can decide, okay, let's interview the top 10% candidates here. So our AI recruiter will send an invite for interview, and then when the candidates enter the interview, our AI recruiter will also conduct interviews and at the same time evaluate the interviews. Yeah. So and then at the end of the whole interviewing 10 people, so it will produce a transcript which comprises of the reports of the interviews as well as the video recording of the interviews of all 10 people that actually went for the interviews. Yeah. And lastly, we have an AI verifier that actually would validate your credentials, like where you worked before, which qualification that you have, like also as like your digital footprints and so forth. So it's a one-stop shop, earlier sourcing candidates all the way into verifying candidates. It's all done in our platform. So that is pretty much the nutshell of Hirix.
Great. Can I say this Hirix2 is best to complement with HR department, especially in larger scale company or FMC, or it is to replace the whole HR departments?
Yeah, I think to replace the whole HR department is probably not, right? Because like, recruitment is one part of HR. Apart from recruitment, they have government license, they have remunerations, HR admins, and so forth. But particularly, Hirix is only for HR recruitment. So it's not saying that you by using HR you can actually scrap off your hiring department. No. You can actually like do all these manual processes like reviewing resumes and so forth. And when an opportunity comes in, rather than doing that manually, you can the HR person can go out, like having more conversational engagement with like potential candidates rather than sitting down reviewing resumes. So Hirix is actually designed for any companies that actually have recruitment functions, but more so, of course, when we develop, we have two types of subscription. Both are software service for larger organizations as well as for smaller, medium enterprise. So it all depends on the usage and the volume of interviews that you have that will determine whether which subscription that you go with. Yes, Hirix will reduce time to hire, and as well as it will reduce bias and frauds quite significantly. Because it doesn't discriminate against the sex or age or doesn't discriminate on like which university that you graduated from, or which school that you go, and like who do you know in the organization and so forth. So it's good in that sense.
Okay, we kind of know. How about competitor? Do you have competitor currently in the market?
Well, based on our findings, I mean, there are a few in Malaysia. However, they are all bits and pieces. They don't have the one-stop shop platform solutions that we have. So that's one. There is one in Singapore. I mean, but they are around 12 to 18 months behind us in terms of implementation. We are early. So, and I'm pretty sure there's one or two in Indonesia, but that's all catered for the Indonesian market mostly, which most of the times actually only done in Bahasa. Our AI solution can cater for two, English and Malay, Bahasa Malaysia. So we are now in the process of doing some enhancement to develop AI for our Japan market. For your information, we have a active client in Japan that's actually using Hirix AI in Japan. Yes.
Can I assume that only large scale, let's say more than 50, hundreds employee scale company would suitable to become Hirix clients, or if SMEs like less than 20 are also able to use it?
As I mentioned earlier, like we do have two options. It's all based on the size of your company and the size of the interviews that you do. Meaning it's the size of recruitment that you do. Yeah. So if you have less than, if you have 200 and below employees, and you can use the B2C subscription. It's for a small medium enterprise. However, if you have like 250 and above, you can use the enterprise subscriptions. So we cater for both different sizes.
That sounds very, very flexible.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think that will be your unique characteristic to be the ones that provide this service in the markets compared to other competitors? But I mean, we know that you sort of don't have direct competitors. It's not a usual things that happens now in Malaysia, which is very good timing for you to launch the service as well as the equity crowdfunding campaign. And we are very glad to be your crowdfunding partners at this point.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean,
Why? Yeah, tell us your winning points. That why you.
So I think we are the first mover, speed, and deep architectural execution. We are first mover and we have deep architectural executions. So as a Malaysia first AI native recruitment platform, we hold a distinct market advantage. So I mean, but beyond being first, I mean, like we have a combined expertise in business and technology, especially myself, meaning we can build deep tech infrastructure that's actually localized for Southeast Asian enterprise workflows. In our times and so on, market opportunity, we're focusing to in Malaysia. So that's where we are going to be expanding to. And mind you, we have like quite a few active customers overseas. As I mentioned earlier, we got one in Japan, we got one in Canada, and we got one in the US, based out of New Jersey, that actually has operations here in Malaysia. So they require some level of staffing in Malaysia. So they're also using it, and the rest are all from Malaysia.
So we know that in Malaysia, I suppose in the regions, to access to capital is never the easy path to go, right?
Yep.
And not only fundings, what else that you face the biggest challenge along the way when you're working and strive for your success for now and maybe previously?
Yeah, sure. So our biggest challenge, initial challenge, was market education. Like initially early on, HR leaders, they love the concept of this AI, but they fear of losing control or trusting algorithms with critical hiring decisions. So how we overcome it, and we have two approach. One is we engage the market. So we overcome it through various endless engagement with the recruiter companies, with recruiters. We even get more than after we did our MVP, minimum viable product, we had 10 companies to use the platform and provide feedback, which we use later on to enhance the platform. So that's how we kind of like give education to the market, as well as testing our models. So that was I'm pretty sure that's the biggest challenge that we had, and it was all overcome after we had 13 clients sign up with us. But our biggest breakthrough was in early this year when we signed up with the company in New Jersey. That's the biggest contract that we had. So when you build something radical, something new, as opposed to the traditional way of doing things, and you streamline, automate the process, reduce time, increase the quality, reduce bias and fraud. It's a new thing in the market, right? So especially in Southeast Asia. So it is quite challenging in start for market education, but we overcome it eventually.
Yeah, I suppose this is a common pain point, right, for first mover like you, and also in Alixco as a pioneer in equity crowdfunding as well as P2P. We need to do a lot of educations to build trust and reputations. But I suppose this is also your achievement as being the first movers in Southeast Asia. That leads to my next questions. That I suppose this is one of your achievement you already achieved, being the first one and recognize the significant ones to operate in the market. Let's talk about your personal achievement first before we talk about Hirix's achievements. What so far is the most proud moments or achievement that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, well, that's for personal perspective, private perspective. I feel that coming back to Malaysia is one of the best decisions I've made after being away for so long. Trying to get the best from both worlds, overseas and Malaysia, and then come up with some finding solution recommendation, short term, medium term, long term. Anyway, at multinational companies or at GLCs, or even on my own startup. So that's the personal. I feel that it's a personal achievement. The other personal achievement if I may say, is working 2 jobs. To be honest, because when we started this, I was still holding a job at an oil and gas company. So we got 9 to 5, and then we got 5 to 9. I was moonlighting doing this too. So it was pretty hard. I mean, it was it requires some level of resilience. We built something, based on our experience and at work. And then we're trying to, we have to build to sell. So we thought that we know what we're building, but we wouldn't know until you test the market, until you get your AI model validated before you actually get customers to sign up. So my moment of personal achievement, actually realizes at that point when we had our first customer that signed up with us. So that was my personal achievement. In terms of achievement of Hirix, I mean, so we had quick turnaround, only 8 to 9 months from zero to minimum viable product MVP, and we engage the market, get some feedback, we do enhancement, and 4 months down the road, we launch, and then since then, 1 year of launch, our monthly recurring revenue goes up to 99,000 ringgit, which is around MRR 25,000 US. And then when the RS retrospectively look back, we're like, oh my god, it's only 18 months prior to that we are only starting building. So it was quite rewarding to achieve where we are now. So in terms of product build, validation, and generating revenue. So yeah.
Well, I hear very brave and bold entrepreneurs that take a leap of faith to start Hirix. And also good to hear that Hirix are in a very highly growth stage now. And that is also the reasons why we would love to work with Hirix and to introduce your company to our investors, as high growth company is always the darling when it comes to equity crowdfundings, especially now in AI eras, right? I suppose most of the investors are actively looking for AI solutions, especially in enterprise solutions. Yeah. So definitely we are looking forward for your crowdfunding campaign to launch in the market.
Sure.
Okay. Now that you are achieving certain milestones, what do you see in the future's 5 years, says? Where do you see Hirix and yourself would be at?
Yeah. Well, in the where the vision is, like we want Hirix to be a global standard global standard in AI hiring, where every company can build high performing diverse teams without bias and barriers. So that's what we're looking at, and as we are the first mover in Malaysia, particularly. So with the amount of magnitude of features that we have, so we believe that we can, take the pie of the service optimal web market in Malaysia. And eventually grow significantly. We only at pre-seed, mind you. We've only at pre-seed round, so we have, our product has been developed, AI model has been tested, we're already generating revenue, and we have a great team who managed to attract good talent. We kind of know what we're building because we always engage the clients, the user, and yeah, we're ready to scale up and grow organically.
Great. Maybe extra questions. Do you mind to introduce about your team? Who is supporting you behind and joining your ventures?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So there are two co-founders, myself and my CTO, our CTO, Aizuddin. He is our CTO, and Aizuddin had worked for 4 startup companies prior to working in oil and gas, where we met. He worked in San Francisco before, more than a year, doing some app in San Francisco. I came back. He's a true blue technology guy. He graduated from university in the UK, and he was a solutions architect. He was a developer, and he was also the guy behind our AI engine. So that's Aizuddin. So he's my sparring partner. As well, we have a team. Yeah, we have some during the start of the development. We had 2 developers and 1 from engineer. So we developed. We did back then. We didn't have. We don't hire permanent. We only hire on project basis. So yeah, myself, the CEO, Aizuddin, the CTO, 2 developers, and we had 1 guy actually doing a bit of business development, a bit of administration. So now we actually raising funds to hire people in business development and sales. We've got our sales blueprint unlocked. It's ready, and hence we are raising funds to scale up in that sense. Yeah.
Sounds like a troop of very experienced deep tech management experts are grouping together to run Hirix.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to have my CTO on board.
Yeah, well, I agree with you totally. Talent is an asset for the company. Sometimes not just founder. The second things they will look at in investors would be our team, right?
Yeah.
And how good they are, how committed they are. Totally agree on that part.
Yeah. So we do have a strong bonding dynamics, chemistry between us. We had that level of trust as well. So I mean, trust can be divided into 1 that trust you can do the work. Second is trust that you're not going to swindle any money. So there's both trust. We are solid. So yeah.
Okay. Since you touched about fundraisings and you are
Yep.
going to launch your crowdfunding
Yes,
campaigns,
Mhm.
so why at this time for fundraising exercise? And let's say, very likely you will get funded. How you gonna use the fund for?
Yep, sure. So at this point in time, on pre-seed round, we are raising close to 460,000 ringgit for to give a 12 months runway to gain 15 to 20% growth and to double up our monthly recurring revenue from 99,000 to 200,000 ringgit per month. So we will use this money, like we need to hire more people in sales and sales development, and we also need to, as we progress, as we get more clients, we need to also pay for our infrastructure, licensing, subscription. This is an AI startup, right? So most of the bills that we pay to our vendors are based on usage. So the higher the usage, the higher the client, the more the usage, the more we have to pay to our infrastructure providers. And we're gonna actually start to run like a true blue company. So that's how we actually going to spend. That's how we're going to spend our investment. At this point of time, in terms of we already got an existing investor. Hassan VC invested 60,000 USD in us just recently, a couple of months ago. We just signed the term sheet and all. So, but we require more funding. A total of 800,000 ringgit, of which 60 US is 240 Malaysia. Okay, so there's a gap of 160. That's why we're actually doing it on your platform. On Alixco.
Thanks for choosing Alixco and trusting Alixco.
No problem.
Sure. So other than funding, sometimes we believe there is also something money cannot buy, right? Other than funding, if you may make a wish, what other than fundings that you're looking for to connect to connect to or looking for today's interview?
I think one of the things that is quite significant and critical in my ask, apart from the money, is getting some connections that can open doors to certain organizations. I had a set with the LPs, the limited partners of SBC. Same thing, same modus operandi. Trying to actually find ways to engage universities, for instance. We are actually going to present our proposal to Asia Pacific University to make their graduating students ready for employment. So that's one. We're also trying to get some airtime with HRD Corp. The other GLC actually may be a potential collaboration that can actually have a potential collaboration with Hirix, as well as I'm also engaging Talent Corp now. Speaking of Talent Corp, yeah. I want to tell them, hey guys, you guys want me back? I'm back. I'm actually contributing here. I've developed something good. Let's do some collaboration. If I may say that.
Yeah, sure. Of course, funding is a powerhouse, right? Especially at pre-seed, we need funding to do a lot to hire the right talents, doing the marketings, as well as the overall injections in business growth. So we are looking forward, but also we hope to through crowdfunding campaigns, we'll be able to reach out to your strategic partners to help you to collaborate or work with you together. This is how crowdfundings work as well. Sometimes it's not just getting investors, but also it's out of the box marketing's way for us to reach out to partners or potential partners.
Definitely, yeah.
Sure. With that, I really thanks for your time.
No problem.
We probably do another one for diving into AI technologies, especially what Hirix are doing. I already gotten a lot of inquiries like those non-AI savvy, like how they couldn't imagine. So I think we need a second interview to really show your products like in a real life case, right?
Sure.
But today we are very glad to really know you as a person, Zoe. Even myself, we do a lot of due diligence in your businesses and understand your market. But personally, sometimes through communications and interview that you're willing to open up and share with us your journeys and stories. Thank you for your time, Zoe.